Okay, welcome and good evening, everybody. On this video, which topic is encryption for dummies. It's actually about what I found out about mm, disk and full disk encryption after Snowden showed the world that every data has to be encrypted all the time. And of course, it's a tutorial for Linux because everything else does not really make sense except FreeBSD maybe. Um, but yeah, it was kind of complicated and I found some ways how to do it easier and I wanted to share it with you so you can profit from my experience. And I actually have some requirements for that. Like I always needed to have the full disk encrypted, so as much as possible. And I don't want to type like the password 1,000 times when I start my computer. So this is the other thing. So we need full encryption and we need auto mount of that encryption as well of the volumes. Um, these need also to be auto mounted. And yeah, I try to show you like the most easiest way I found to do this. First of all, we have here GNOME disk utility. I'm using an Arch distro which is called Untergos with the Cinnamon desktop, but I think the GNOME disk utility is in almost any distribution part of it, and I think you can install it on every distribution, or at least the major ones. So this is like the main tool we're going to use. I will start with this one. This is just an empty disk and I want to use it. So I have to format it. And the way I do this is I just, like it's already empty, but I could just format it again and choose whatever partitioning system I like to. Doesn't really matter. And obviously that will delete everything I have. Then I need to make something useful out of that partition. So I say I'll create a new one. Um, but at type I choose encrypted and compatible with Linux systems, which is like the Lux and ext4. Actually, I don't want to use ext4, but I still just choose that. Then I can give it a name, and it's not, you don't have to, but I recommend it because if you have a lot of volumes at one time, it's really easier when you know which one is which. So I just type in test SSD. And of course, since it's an encrypted volume, I have to provide a password, which I will do in a very safe manner. Just by the way, you would have to have at least like 20 characters in order to have like a safe password. And they recommend to use sentences with some like slightly unexpected things of how you write it actually. So it's easy to remember but hard to crack. Yes, actually, if I wanted to make more partitions, I could decrease this now, but we'll do this for now. So we just do this and it's like doing some magic stuff. Actually, what it is, it uses looks, which is you have your physical hard disk, and then it will just make an encryption layer over the whole hard disk. And this is actually not readable by anyone except looks. But within that so-called Lux container, you can do whatever file system you want. So you have that container, which is first, and then you open that container, and after you open it, you have your file system. As you see, this is also why it's like on top of the other displayed right now, because I can surely show if it's now encrypted. If I decrypt it again, it's closed, and you see there's no file system anymore. So if I encrypt it again and type in my super secure password, and actually I seem to have to authenticate myself as an administrator. Well, then you see it's here again. As I said, I don't want to use ext4 because I'm like one of the BTRFS guys, and so I just can now only select the ext4 file system and say like, okay, even though it's like freshly formatted, I want to format it again. And this time I just choose, I want to have BTRFS. And once again, I will give it some name. And once again, everything will be deleted. So that's it. Now I have an encrypted device, which is having the file system on it that I want. You might notice that it's not mounted yet. So if I want to mount it, I can click that one and it will get mounted. So if I go to that one, you can see this is also like where the name comes handy. If you don't type in a name, it's just like some numbers. But now I have the name I have, so I can actually recognize it and I can put stuff in there. And yeah, it's actually all encrypted. So now I don't want to like open the disk utility every time I boot and encrypt it in order so I can use it, since let's say this is like my regular data folder. Actually, I wouldn't have to use it. I can just like, this is, if it's encrypted, I can just click on this, then it will ask me for the password, and then for the administrator password, because you need that to be able to mount it, and then it will mount it. But I don't want you to do that, so I go back to this one again, and first of all set up the auto encryption of my encrypted device. So first of all, you might think, what is the point of encryption if you decrypt it automatically? The thing is of course absolutely pointless unless you have multiple partitions or devices that are on your computer, and the place where the password is stored to auto decrypt your device is encrypted as well. So you always have to have at least to type in the password every time you boot the computer once. But from then on, you are in a encrypted area, and there you can also save other sensitive information. But obviously, don't do this if your root device is not encrypted. Okay, so to set up this auto mount thing, we just select again first the Lux device, and then we say, okay, actually we need to make sure that it's closed before we can do anything. So then we say mount options. We want to edit them, and we put them to on. And then we say decrypt at start. And this again like is the name, which is like the internal name, but I also recommend to rename it again in case you ever want to like find it in the file system. So this will still be test SSD, and I have to type in the passphrase, which has obviously to match the passphrase I put in when I created the volume. So we can say like the file that holds the password will be created after I hit OK. And it's actually there in etc crypt tab. And there, like to write there, you need root access, which is why I also always have to type in the password. Okay, actually, you're not allowed to have spaces in the name. So I just will do a dash. That was my great password, by the way. So again. So now on boot, my device will be auto encrypted. If we go to these options again, which we now need to have root access because we're accessing that file that holds the password, we can see it's here in etc logs keys test SSD. So if we go here and look at it, notice that I'm already logged in as root. So we can see now this is the password. So you could also actually just type in that manually. Almost. Actually, you would also have to edit crypt tab. But yes, like also if you you can if you change the passphrase, you can always change the passphrase of that looks device. You would have to change it in this file again too. But you can also do it the same way we just did it with these options. Okay, now we have it auto encrypted. But this will only get us so far as we see right now that we have the encrypted device, but we still don't have this thing auto mounted.